Good morning, students. Welcome to the 29th lecture of Engineering Thermodynamics. Today we'll start a new chapter that is on properties of steam. I'll tell you what is the significance of this chapter. See, in a steam power plant or in a thermal power plant, steam is the working substance. Steam is generated in the boiler, it goes to the turbine, makes the turbine rotate, and out of the rotation of turbine we generate electricity. So there the steam, which is the working substance or main working fluid, it undergoes change of properties very often whenever it crosses a particular unit, be it a turbine, be it a condenser, be it a pump. So at every point in the circuit we need to measure and record the properties of steam, and we have to monitor that also in order to make our plant more efficient and more effective. So it is very important in thermodynamics to know about the properties of steam at various temperatures, pressures, with different dryness fraction, and so on. And if you remember correctly, then I told you that there are 8 thermodynamic properties, and if you know the values of at least 2 of them, then the other properties can be made known. So today we will see how from the knowledge of two properties, from the availability of the values of two properties, how the other properties can be found out for a particular substance. That substance is steam. Okay. So we will see how the steam and water or H2O in general, how they change the phase, and during the phase change how the properties do vary, and how to locate them in a table or in a chart and find the other values. Like if you know pressure and temperature, how to get entropy, how to get enthalpy, how to get the specific volume, etc, etc. So that we will try to understand. So try to understand this chapter or whatever I'll be explaining today very carefully, because on the basis of this understanding we will in future learn how to see those charts. There is a chart called Mollier chart, and there are tables called steam tables, from which we will know the values of, we will get to know the values of steam at different conditions, at different pressure conditions, at different temperature conditions, and up to at what pressure, at what temperature the steam will be generated, and if the steam is generating at a particular temperature, then what must be the pressure, what are they called, how to locate them in the table and chart, and how to find the values of other properties from the information about, from the information that is given to us about two of the properties. Okay, so all these things are very correlated, interrelated, so we must have a clear understanding of this. Now I am giving you a small example. Say for example, if you have a block of ice, 1 kg ice. Ice is also H2O. When ice melts, it becomes water, that is also H2O. And when water vaporizes and becomes steam, that is also H2O. So I am talking of H2O. So I have a block of ice, 1 kg of ice at minus 10 degrees centigrade. What will happen if I constantly supply heat at a particular rate? At a constant rate, heat will be supplied to this 1 kg block of ice, which is at minus 10 degrees centigrade. What will happen to it? What will happen to its temperature? What will happen to its physical phase? Okay, that we will see. So let us try to understand this one. Let us take minus 10 degrees centigrade is the temperature, and I will plot temperature in the y-axis and plot the time in the x-axis. So this is temperature. Now minus 10 degrees centigrade, so 0 is somewhere here, minus 10 degree, it is minus 10 degrees centigrade. So the block of ice is here at minus 10 degrees centigrade at t is equal to 0, time is equal to 0. Okay, now what will happen if you constantly supply heat? Then this will increase. So minus 10 degree centigrade will become minus 9, minus 8, minus 7. It will go on increasing, isn't it? It will absorb heat, and that is sensible heat. Sensible heat means that heat which causes temperature rise. When you supply heat to any substance, there are two effects. Either of the two effects is observable. One is either the temperature will rise or the phase will change. Both the things will not happen simultaneously. देखो तुमने 1 kg आइस लिया 0 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड में, यू स्टार्ट हीटिंग इट, then at 0 degree centigrade ice will start melting immediately. So the temperature will not become 1 degree centigrade directly. Only when the whole of the ice melts, till then the temperature is not going to be increased. So only when all the ice is melted, then only the temperature will go from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, like that. So when the phase change is taking place, temperature change will not take place. When the temperature change is taking place, phase change from solid to liquid or liquid to vapor is also not going to change. So whenever you supply heat to a substance, either it will undergo a change of phase or a change in temperature. If the heat is causing change in temperature and not change in phase, then it is called sensible heat, because change in temperature can be sensed by a thermometer. Okay, so it is called sensible heat. When the supply of heat causes a change in phase and not change in temperature, then we say it is latent heat. That's why we have latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization, latent heat of condensation. So all these words, fusion, condensation, vaporization, are all phase change words. Okay. So either it is sensible heat or it is latent heat. And you know, sensible heat is m into latent, sensible heat is m into specific heat into delta T, and latent heat is m into L, where L is the latent heat. Okay. So this will absorb the sensible heat and will become 0 degree centigrade. So the temperature will go from minus 10 degree centigrade to 0 degree centigrade, and there it will not become next 1 degree centigrade, because 0 degree centigrade is a special temperature, you know. At that point of time or at that temperature value, the melting will start. Unless the melting is complete, the temperature will not rise to 1 degree centigrade. So if you are supplying heat continuously, then that heat will now be absorbed by the block of ice as latent heat, and at 0 degree centigrade, without any change in temperature, the phase will change. So the phase will change from solid phase, which is ice, to liquid phase, which is water. Now at 0 degree centigrade, when the entire 1 kg of ice has melted and now it has become water at 0 degree centigrade, further supply of heat will cause rise in temperature, and that rise in temperature will be 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, like that. Okay. So as the time advances, the temperature will increase and till it reaches 100 degree centigrade. 100 degree centigrade is another important milestone. Okay. You know what happens at 100 degree centigrade, just like you know what happens at 0 degree centigrade. What happens at 0 degree centigrade? Ice melts into water. What happens at 100 degree centigrade? Water vaporizes into steam or water vapor. Okay. So at 100 degree centigrade, again there will be a change of phase. Again there will be a change of phase. And during that change of phase, again temperature will remain constant and water will get transformed to vapor phase or will become steam. When whole of the 1 kg of water has become steam, till then there will be no temperature change, but after that there will be again temperature rise. So the temperature will rise, say 100, 200, 300, like that. So this is how the journey will take place from minus 10 degree centigrade to a temperature which is higher than 100 degree centigrade. Okay. And in this journey you will find that this is sensible heat, this is latent heat, this is sensible heat, this is latent heat, this is sensible heat. Whenever there is a change in the temperature axis temperature value, temperature change, that is a that heat will be termed as sensible. It is heat only, but when it causes temperature change, it is termed as sensible heat. When it causes phase change, it is termed as latent heat. It is termed as latent heat. So this is the, now if we take temperature in the y-axis, what should we take in the x-axis? X-axis we can take time, because with time this change is taking place. But if I want to write place a thermodynamic property in the x-axis, which thermodynamic property should I place? Now from this point to this point, this point to this point, say this is point A, point B, point C, point D and point E. If you take these points A, B, C, D, E, from A to E through B, C, D, if you say what is monotonically increasing, when you must be able to answer this question, that when we supply heat to a system or to a substance, what is the property that monotonically increases? Now if you say temperature is not increasing monotonically, because there are places where temperature is remaining constant. So the answer is, if you remember the entropy concept, then dq by T is ds. So if you are supplying heat, then ds will increase, and ds is positive. Here heat is supplied, so ds is positive. So entropy is continuously increasing, whether it is latent heat or sensible heat, no matter what kind of, in what form the substance is absorbing heat, but its entropy will continuously and monotonically increase. So we can, in place of time, we can also place this property S in the x-axis. So this becomes a TS diagram. And why I am choosing TS diagram? Because you know that the area under any line or curve in a TS diagram projected on the entropy axis gives you something, gives you an idea about the magnitude of something. What is that something? Just like the area under the curve projected on volume axis in a PV plane gives you the magnitude of work, similarly area under this gives you the magnitude of heat supplied, heat transfer. Now it is heat supplied or heat removed, that depends again on the arrow mark that shows the direction, increasing direction of entropy or decreasing direction of entropy. So this is the pattern in which it will change. What will change? The temperature will change and the starts moving like this. Now look at one thing. This is solid phase. Up to this is solid phase. From here to here there is a phase change from solid to liquid. From here to here it is pure liquid phase. From here to here again there is a phase change from liquid to vapor, and from here till the maximum temperature it can go, it is vapor phase. So there are three phases which are shown here, and there are two lines, flat lines, representing the latent heat of fusion, or latent heat of melting and latent heat of vaporization. So if I drop a perpendicular here and here, then this area, this is the area under the vaporization line in TS diagram, and that will give me the latent heat of vaporization. This area will give me the latent heat of fusion, and this area will give you the, this will give the sensible heat, which is required to take it from 0 degree centigrade, which is the melting point, to 100 degree centigrade, which is the boiling point. Okay, so this is the sensible heat, this is the sensible heat, these are the latent heats. Now another thing is that I want to point out here, that all these points we can name them. Like for example, A is a solid point. Then what is B? B is a liquid point, and this is a A1. What about this point? This is a point, and this is these 2 points, A dash and B, are points at which the temperature is remaining constant and phase change starts at this point and ends at this point. Okay, that means beyond this point, liquid will not solid will not remain as solid, and beyond this point, liquid will not remain as liquid. It has to change its phase. It has to undergo a transformation or change of phase. So these points. Similarly, if you are cooling the steam, suppose you have steam at 350 degrees centigrade, you start cooling it. How it will come? It will follow the same path. It will follow the same path. It will come to 100 degree centigrade. फिर 100 degree centigrade में क्या होगा? The condensation will start from D to C. Then the whole of the steam will get condensed. It will become water. फिर water का temperature will keep decreasing till it reaches 0 degree centigrade. At 0 degree centigrade, the fusion will start, or melting, the solidification will start, and it will become ice like that. So it will come this way. That means beyond this point, it will not remain as vapor. Beyond this point, it will not remain as liquid. So these are the border points, and these border points are called saturation points. So A dash, B, and C and D are called saturation points. Saturation points. Saturation points. Because they are the border points. Okay, they are the border points. Beyond this, it cannot remain as liquid. Beyond this, it cannot remain as solid, like that. Okay, so they are the border points. Some changes are going to happen at those points, and those points are called saturation point, because the substances saturated in its existing phase, so it has to undergo a change. Okay, so this is the path which this has to follow. But what is the, I have not told you about, I told you about 0 degree centigrade and 100 degree centigrade. What is 0 degree centigrade? You will say melting point of ice. What is 100 degree centigrade? It is the boiling point of water. But what is the condition? Will water boil always at 100 degree centigrade? Will ice melt always at 0 degree centigrade? Answer is no. This is the condition, or these are the respective melting and boiling points for water only when the pressure is atmospheric. So this line is actually a line which is valid, and these values are valid only when this line is representing a atmospheric pressure line. So this line is an isobar. Okay, so this is a constant pressure line, and when the pressure is constant, and then the pressure is equal to 1 atmospheric pressure, then the ice at minus 10 degree centigrade will undergo a trajectory like this in order to reach this point. Okay, not at any other pressure. If it is 2 atmospheric pressure, then things will change, because at 2 atmospheric pressure, ice doesn't melt at 0 degree centigrade. Water doesn't vaporize at 100 degree centigrade. These are the values only when atmospheric pressure is maintained. So henceforth, from today till today, if somebody asks you what is the melting point of ice, your answer would have been 0 degree centigrade. What is the boiling point of water? 100 degree centigrade. But from today onwards, this answer is not valid, because the question is not valid. The questions asked to you should be, what is the boiling point of water at 1 atmospheric pressure? Then only your answer will be 100 degree centigrade, because when the pressure is not at 1 atmospheric pressure, 2 atmospheric pressure, the boiling point will be something else. And what is 1 atmospheric pressure? 1 atmospheric pressure is 1 atmospheric pressure. You know that is equal to 76 centimeter of mercury and all that. And what is that? 1 atmosphere is 1.013 bar, or approximately 1 bar. Just take 1 atmospheric pressure as 1 bar, but remember that it is not exactly 1 bar, it is 1.013 bar. 1.013 bar. So this is a 1 bar line, and in this 1 bar line, the saturation points are this point, this point, this point, this point. And between two saturation points, you have this phase change curves. Okay. Another thing, because we will be mostly interested in the application of this concept in thermal power plants where steam will go past units like turbine, condenser, etc. So, and water will go past along the pump and condenser and other such devices. So, although there are three phases here, we will be focusing our discussion from now onwards on the phases which are capable of flowing. Here there are three phases. One is the solid phase, one is the liquid phase, one is the vapor phase. But from now onwards, we will focus on phases of H2O which are capable of flowing. Okay. So, which are the phases that are capable of flowing? Which are the phases that have the flowability? Does solid has flowability? Answer is no. So, we are not interested in the solid phase of H2O anymore as far as power generation is concerned. So, in this chapter, we will focus our attention to properties of steam and water, not of ice. Okay. So, if we are ignoring ice, then let us ignore this part of the curve. If we ignore this part of the curve, ये चला गया तुम्हारा the solid phase and the phase change from solid to liquid to solid to liquid. So that part we will remove. If we remove that part, then our TS diagram will be now looking like this. Our TS diagram will be looking like this. So this is our TS diagram. So let it starts from water. At some point let it be A, let it be B, let it be C, and let it be D. So we have pure water here, we have saturated water here because there is a point of saturation. We have saturated vapor here, and we have above that pure vapor here. So now we are having 4 points only, and this line is a constant pressure line representing 1 atmospheric pressure or 1 bar pressure. Okay, 1 atmospheric pressure is approximately 1 bar. I am redrawing this diagram, so it will become self-explanatory now that for the transformation of liquid water to water vapor, we will show a curve which is a constant pressure curve, which will give you an idea about the change in temperature and change in phase. So it is a TS diagram again, and the line will be like this. तो ये क्या line है? Now this line is self-explanatory to you. So this is point A, point B, point C, point D. Now what is A? A is liquid, pure liquid, because it is in the liquid zone. What is B? Is the saturation point. Saturation point for the liquid side, so it is saturated liquid point. What is C? C is also a saturation point, which is saturated vapor point, because that is where the vapor is just formed. And what is D? What is D? D is vapor point. Okay, this is pure vapor. C to D is pure vapor. A to B is pure liquid. B to C is a transition zone where the water is getting converted to steam or water vapor. Okay, and temperature is remaining constant, and for 1 bar pressure that temperature is 100 degrees centigrade, and this line is 1 bar pressure line, or say this line is for pressure P1. Now if I take another pressure, say I take 5 bar, then at 5 bar pressure the water doesn't boil at 100 degrees centigrade. Maybe it is boiling at 106 degrees centigrade. So the boiling point has now changed its value. So at 100 degrees centigrade it will no more be boiling. So its saturation temperature will not be in this line. Saturation temperature will be somewhere here. Similarly here saturation temperature will be somewhere here. So for another pressure, the line will be similar but not the same line coinciding with each other. So it's a different line. So this is for pressure P2. Similarly, if I take for pressure P3, say 60 bar pressure. If I take for some more pressure, experimentally it is found that when you take more and more higher and higher pressure, the saturation points B, C, gradually they are different, and if you join all the saturation points, then you will get a dome like this. You will get a dome like this. Now look at this diagram. So this is a TH diagram, there is a dome. The right hand side represents the saturated vapor lines. The left side represents the saturated liquid lines. In between, the straight lines are representing constant pressure lines and constant temperature lines where the phase change is taking place from liquid to vapor. So this line is called saturated liquid line. This line is called saturated vapor line, and where they meet, this point is called the critical point. Critical point. I'll tell you what is the significance of critical point. Now see, at point B, the vaporization starts, at point C, vaporization ends. So if I take the area under BC, then this area is what? I told you just before that this area is representing the magnitude of heat which is required to bring the substance from B to C. And what is the meaning of that? That means to bring the substance from saturated liquid to saturated vapor state. That means the heat required for transformation of liquid to vapor. That is your latent heat. So this is your latent heat of vaporization. Now if you go on projecting this for different pressures, you will find that as you reach the critical point, the latent heat of vaporization, magnitude of latent heat of vaporization will keep decreasing gradually with pressure, and at one point of time when they will reach the topmost point called the critical point, the latent heat of vaporization becomes zero. That means you don't require any heat to be supplied in order to transform liquid to water, but that is at a very high pressure. I'll tell what is the pressure at that point of time. So that is at high temperature and high pressure. The boiling point also is gradually increasing. So whatever is the boiling point for 1 bar, that is 100 degrees centigrade, for 2 bar that is different, for 5 bar it is different, for 20 bar it is different, for 60 bar it is different. And at this point, critical point, when the pressure is as high as 221.2 bar and temperature becomes 374 degrees centigrade, the latent heat of vaporization becomes zero, because the area under this straight line here, there is no straight line, it's only a point, so area under that is zero. So you have to understand this and significance of critical point. So critical point is a point below which, critical point represents a pressure value 221.2 bar, which is very high pressure, and 374 degrees centigrade, which is also very high temperature. Below this pressure and temperature, there is no meaning of, there is distinction of liquid phase, transition phase and vapor phase. But above that, there is no meaning of any phase. Okay. So all the phases, they coexist there. But below that, there is a transition. So this is called the vapor dome, and within the dome, or the dome represents the transition phase from liquid to vapor. Okay, so today we learned about the saturation points, the TS diagram, the trajectory along which the phase change and temperature change takes place for steam and water, and which is the saturated vapor line, which is the saturated liquid line, and where they meet at a point called critical point. The values of pressure and temperature at critical point are 221.2 bar and 374 degrees centigrade. And at critical point and above critical point, there is no latent heat of vaporization. That means latent heat of vaporization becomes 0. And when we start from this 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 60 bar, 70 bar, 100 bar, like that, as we go on increasing the pressure, then we will find that not only the boiling point of water increases, but the latent heat of vaporization or the heat required to convert water to vapor is also decreasing as the pressure is increasing, and finally it is becoming 0. And above this beyond this saturated vapor line, this zone is pure vapor, or it is called superheated vapor region. This zone is called superheated vapor region, and this is called the saturated vapor line. This is called the transition region or transition phase, and this inside the dome, and in along this line we have saturated liquid line. That means along this line, if you take any point, that point represents the saturation point, and beyond that the substance will not remain as liquid anymore. And left to this is called subcooled liquid region. Subcooled liquid region. Okay, so subcooled liquid region, saturated liquid, transition, saturated vapor, and superheated vapor. So this much we learned as far as the TS diagram is concerned. This much for today. Next class we will start from this point, and we will know what are the other features of this TS diagram and how it can be translated to HS diagram and so on. Okay, thank you.